Here on the Peripatia podcast, we talk about life's turning points, the plot twists that change everything. If you're in one of those moments now, questioning your habits, your happiness, or your relationship with alcohol, check out Ditch the Drink. It's life coaching with a sober, curious twist because we're all recovering from something, whether that's grief, burnout, people-pleasing, perfectionism, you name it. Start your next chapter with a free guide and masterclass at ditchthedrink.com. Your turning point could start today. This episode is brought to you by Kajabi, the all-in-one platform that helps creators like you turn your knowledge into income. Whether you're a coach, course creator, or content pro, Kajabi gives you everything you need to build, market, and sell your offers all in one place. No duct taping together websites, email systems, landing pages, or payment processors. Kajabi handles it all, so you can focus on what you do best, teaching, creating, and connecting. I use Kajabi myself, and I can tell you it's a game changer. You can launch a digital product, build a membership, or host an entire online course without needing to be a tech genius. Want to give it a try? Head to my link for a free 30-day trial and see how simple building your dreams can be. Kajabi, where creators become entrepreneurs.
Hey, babe, and welcome to the Peripatia podcast, a talk show for women. This is the place to talk about how we're ditching our bad habits, long-held patterns, and limiting beliefs. The time is now to stop outsourcing and start insourcing our happiness and bliss. Am I right? I'm Heather Lowe, your empowering life coach, ready to guide you on this incredible journey of self-discovery, empowerment, and freedom. If you're feeling stuck in the cycle and wondering what life could look like if you liberated yourself, well, I've got something just for you. I created a free guide to help you take those first empowering steps towards a healthier and more fulfilling life, the one that you desire. This guide is packed with practical tools, mindset shifts, journal prompts that dig deep, and real-life insights to support you in making changes that truly stick. So if you're ready to explore what's possible, head over to ditchthedrink.com and grab your free guide today. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. And if you want a group of babes to journey with, I've got you there too. We're staying connected through the Ditch the Drink Insider app with private forums, weekly group calls, masterclasses, live workshops, book clubs, in real life events, and more. And the best part is you can join for free with a 7-day trial. I'd love to continue the conversation on the inside. Now, let's dive into today's episode and get inspired to create the life you deserve, like so many other babes are doing right now. Here we go.
Peripatia podcast listeners, I have a treat for you today. Mel McSherry is on, and we have rescheduled probably no less than 5 or 6 times. So it's just a miracle that we are here together. And I was telling Mel, she's the first person that I'm interviewing that I don't know personally. So Mel was suggested to me, and her topic of human design and business was so interesting to me that I did a little more research and found out we're actually basically neighbors. We live pretty close to each other as Chicagoans, and we've gotten to know each other a little bit now prior to this call. So welcome, Mel. Thank you so much for being here, and thanks for your patience and scheduling to get this happening right now.
Absolutely, Heather. Like I've said, the universe wasn't ready for us yet, and now it's the perfect time for us to have this conversation. And as I mentioned before we started recording, I'm so honored to be the first of maybe many, maybe not, of strangers that you are getting to know. So I'm excited to have this conversation with you and see where it goes.
Yeah, me too. Well, either way, this was meant to be, and we did push through a lot of things to get here. So I'm a
on
believer
both ends.
that it, right, exactly, right, yeah, both of us. So it is meant to be, and it is great to know you, and I'm excited for our conversation. You say that you always knew you were different. Can you take us back to what that felt like growing up or in your early career?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it showed up as many things, but I think the first thing that I can really connect to is, so I use the pronouns they, she, and I was assigned female at birth. And one of the things that I had always been interested in or just didn't know how to connect to was that term girl. I always was the tomboy. I grew up with an older brother, older boy cousins. I did all of the boy things, And I also grew up in a very religious household where, people who are assigned female at birth are taught to be different, are taught to be quiet, are taught to be mothers, or taught to be wives, and so on and so forth. And I always had this really interesting confliction of what was comfortable and what was not, but I didn't have the vernacular of what that really was. And so a lot of people just kind of, always said, oh, well, Mel was off to the beat of their own drum or her own drum. And I was always severely independent, really wanted to make my own way. And that started right off the bat. Even in high school, I knew I didn't really want to go to college. I didn't want the traditional step by step. And beautifully, I was born into a very entrepreneurial household. My father is an entrepreneur, started his now successful business at the age of 40. Growing up, we survived several very unsuccessful businesses. So knowing exactly what that looks like with having a family and trial and learning and all of that, as well as both of my grandfathers and my grandmother at a time all owned their own businesses. And so when I announced that I didn't want to do the traditional path, but I didn't know what that path was, beautifully, my parents were very supportive. And first, what that turned into was moving to Seattle at the age of 19. Never been there a day in my life. I found a theater school that I wanted to be a part of and went out, auditioned, found an apartment that next day, got accepted, and 2 months later, packed up my U-Haul with my brother and drove to Seattle to try to be an actor. And it was all of those little pivots that I knew were plot twists I needed to discover my true identity, not only in how I identify, pronouns wise and so on and so forth, but also how to discover my message, how to discover my strengths and my actual purpose in life, because it's very easy to get coerced, right? It's very easy to get taught what your path should be. Again, being raised in a very religious household, I had a path kind of laid out for me, and beautifully, I had the support to kind of tiptoe out of it. I'm sure my parents had a secret hope that I'd always come back to the quote unquote norm, but it just kind of progressed more and more. And so when I really picture and think about the term identity, it is something in all of us that is constantly evolving. When you find your foundations, when you find your morals, your values, your strengths and your stopping points, those give you the information on how to shape your identity. It also gives you a lot of the tools and resources to connect to your identity as it continues to evolve. And it's been so beautiful to experience that as a human, as an entrepreneur. I went from acting to personal training, from personal training into traditional business coaching, and then from traditional business coaching to now what I call life and business guidance, where I use the combination of human design with traditional business and personal development tools and frameworks. So inspired humans can really connect to and understand how they are designed to honor their lives and become the architects of their true success.
Yeah, I love that. So it's interesting because it sounds like you didn't fit the mold and you knew what the mold was and you knew that you didn't fit it. And to have that awareness so young and the confidence to do that. And then the support, even from a household that had maybe a defined path that allowed you to, maybe it felt like permission to go ahead and be whoever you were going to be and beat to the drum that you had versus what anybody else had for you.
Yeah, I agree with the word permission. And it's also interesting when you do have such a strong pull to do your own thing, and yet sometimes don't have the strength or the vernacular to advocate for that. Because there's definitely moments in my journey where I lost myself to conditioning, where I lost myself to what I thought I should do or how I should look or how I should present in order to create the business, the money, and the life that I wanted. Because I had an inkling, right? But as you get older, you lose that trust in that inkling because it gets so drowned out by all the noise. And when human design found me in 2020, the first time I read my chart, I just sobbed because it was all the things I knew And that's what I love about when I do readings. All of my clients know this already. Nobody really gets surprised about anything, but it's that validation and confirmation of what you always knew to be true. The words so you can now advocate for it, and then the awareness of where you went too far. Because we do naturally live inside of our human design every single day. We just aren't always aware of where our starting and stopping points are. And that's where it starts to get a little bit murky or frustrating or, all of those kind of more negative feelings. And so when I had that extra resource of knowing my human design and knowing and using that as a lens to start reshaping a successful business that I already had, by the way, into something that was now fully mine, not just somebody's frameworks that I was filtering myself into, it turned into a more sustainable journey for me because it wasn't this constant seeking out resources of, well, find the expert, copy and paste, pretty much what we're taught as entrepreneurs. It went back to, okay, what do I already know to be true? What resources do I already have? And how can I reshape them to what I now know to be true and has proven to be true, thank you to my human design, and or, ooh, that's why that didn't work. And now I have the full, to use your word, permission to let that go because now I know why it didn't work. It wasn't because I wasn't outside of my comfort zone enough or I wasn't consistent enough. It literally is not designed for me or my success. And so by having that personalized information, I'm so passionate about sharing that with others because I'm not necessarily teaching anything. I'm mirroring who they are. I'm giving them space to spend time with themselves in a way that is not coerced into a funnel or not coerced into something that I have planned for them. It is time for them to understand and to celebrate what they already know to be true, and then have the support and space to go, okay, but what about this? Okay, now what? And then working together as a guide to just give them the space to explore, give them the space to play, and also remind them where those stopping and starting points are and where those disconnects may be lying inside of their design.
I love it. Let's get into it because I'm obsessed with human design too. So I had a masterclass in my insider community on it. And then I went to an in-person event and I learned a little more specific about myself. And I had the experience that you had, like could fall to my knees and cry. Like it gave me words. It gave me understanding. It made so much sense. So human design gave me permission to be myself and my identity revealed. And it was like a light bulb moment of like, no wonder that wouldn't work. No wonder that doesn't feel aligned. No wonder I'm not good at that. That's not for me. That's not the way I operate. That's not the kind of person I am. No wonder why this feels good. No wonder why I love this. So I want to use this obviously as free consulting for myself today to learn, because a lot of my listeners are also entrepreneurs and business owners and coaches and podcasters and all that good stuff. I want to know more about how we can use human design to work for us personally and professionally. And I want to know more about what you say with starting and stopping and all that good stuff. So if you would share your experience and how it's helped you, and then maybe we can get into some of your client stories or how it can help others. I would love to know more dive deeper into this.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those who don't know, there's 5 what's called energetic types inside of human design. And what those are your overarching energetic blueprints, basically how much energy you have. And each of those come with a specific strategy. So I'm what's called a projector. I am about 20% of the population. And my strategy is wait to be invited. Now, that alone, for most entrepreneurs.
I actually have partners that say that. And that reminds me of that. And sometimes I have to give them the nudge twice. Like somebody will say, like, I don't chase or something. And I'm like, this is the second time I'm inviting you, just so you know. It's time. If you want it, come in. I'm inviting you, to be clear.
And it's so interesting. And I love that you brought that up because there's the reason why I love diving into. So when you have a reading with me, I go through 5 areas of your charts. And the reason why I do that is because human design is becoming more known, which I love. And it's also starting to become what I like to call Instagrammable, where people are just taking, oh, I'm a generator. I can't do this. I can't do it.
Right.
No, you have, I call it the ultimate onion of personal development. Human design has many, 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 many layers. And by basing off a lot of decisions off of just that one piece of information is not how human design is meant to be enveloped. And so when you said, I have projectors and I'm inviting them, they're saying no. My first thought is, well, what is their authority? Because for some, I know for myself, I'm an emotional authority, which means I should not make any major decisions when I'm in any heightened emotion. So if somebody tells you or told me, if it's a full body hell yes, it's a yes. Full body hell yes is a maybe. I need to wait on it and ask more questions and see how things actually play out. There's also those who make decisions split, which are, in a second, which are splenic. So it helps in two ways. One, for myself to advocate for what I need to make space to make the best decisions and to understand my pulls and my pings, because a lot of those one-liners don't work on me. Trust your gut. No, I'm not a sacral authority. I'm an emotional authority. So to be able to have that lens to customize those words. On the other end, for you, we were mentioning before we hit record that you now love to know everybody's human design.
Yeah.
It's such an insight for you to know your clients, because then you can understand them deeper. And
I have one of the rarest ones who takes 28 days to make a decision.
Reflector. Yeah.
I have a reflector. I have all kinds, and I'm like, ooh, she's so rare. And I'm always like, well, we'll see in 28 days what you decide about that.
And I'm sure as a generator, no, I'm going to say that drives you nuts. I know it doesn't really drive you nuts, but I'm sure there's a piece of you that's like,
of her, right?
Exactly.
Right.
But if you didn't have that understanding as a generator who has copious amounts of energy, and I don't know your authority, but even just having that energy can be even you accidentally conditioning them to doing something that's not in their design. So for me, I was trained, like most projectors, we think we're either manifesting generators or generators because we absorb other people's energy. And I was trained very generator, and I acted very generator. And the interesting thing is that on paper, it worked really well for me. I was making close to 6 figures. I was speaking all over the world. I was being flown to Ireland to speak and train. Like, I was living the life. And yet I felt so lost in my business. I felt like I was constantly, as I mentioned earlier, pretending, putting on an air because that's what I was taught to do, say, look like in order to fit the framework that is a quote unquote female founder. And when human design found me, I was in such an interesting place in my business because, again, things were going well. I was kicking ass and taking names. And unbeknownst to me, we were 2 weeks away from lockdown here in Chicago. And you and I know that we were in lockdown for a while. And for the entire world, everything shifted. And human design found me at a spiritual retreat 2 weeks before lockdown. And I was in this moment of questioning, well, again, this is working on paper. So why isn't this feeling successful? And when I saw where I was going too far, so for those who don't know, projectors, we don't have a natural energy source. We can work, quote unquote, 2 to 4-ish hours a day, but work is a different definition for us. Consistency is a different definition for us. To line that even more, I have what's called a line 2 hermit, which means I need to disconnect and disassociate for a while to rest. And that's not what I was doing. I was speaking 3 or 4 times a week. I was networking twice a week on top of that. I was in back-to-back meetings, and burnout hit me like crazy. And I didn't know why. And it was because I wasn't depleting people's energy, but I was depleting myself from using other people's energy, not understanding that it wasn't mine. So when I got even that piece of information, I looked at my schedule and I was like, okay, what of my routine have I gone way too far? And what I ended up doing was automating even more strictly my meetings. So everybody gets a Calendly link. My Calendly knows I only take 2 to 3 meetings a day. I have an hour break or an hour and a half break in between. And I only take certain meetings on certain days. And so I was able to adjust my automation to instantly give me new boundaries. And I will tell you this. Guilt ran a go-go at first because the waiting thing, even though 90% of us are designed to wait in some aspect, that is not what we are taught. We are taught to initiate. We're taught to follow up. We're taught to do all these things.
Hustle.
Hustle, exactly.
Hustle
And
for your worth.
even generators who have a bunch of energy, you
You
need
are a
to
hustle. Like,
be
born
recognized
ready.
and wait to
Yeah.
respond, right?
Yeah. Right.
And so it was those pause points that started giving me my true profitability back. When I speak about profitability, it is always multi-layered. It's mentally, emotionally, energetically, and financially.
Yeah.
And we are always taught to have that financial at the top of the hierarchy. That's how I arranged my entire day. How many phone calls? What's my goal? What's my numbers? Numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you should know your numbers. Absolutely. And to hit those doesn't have to be this constant initiation because only 10% of us are meant to initiate. Those are pure manifestors. The rest of us are to share and to wait and to ask questions and to respond. And so even inside of that, it's helped me reframe every single profitable funnel I've ever created for myself to where they are still profitable, but I just do them differently. And my mental, emotional, and energetic profitability has been able to create such a beautiful sustainability inside of this journey. Because it's a journey. No matter how successful you are, there are still moments.
I love it. These are such good examples. Your schedule, your rest time. Rest is productive and necessary to recharge and reset and being in flow. Like it tells you, it explains why some things feel like flow and some things feel like pushing uphill, right? And for me, the decision-making was everything because I'm sacral. So I am trust your gut. And here's the thing about me is I already know the answer. Immediately, I know the answer. I'm asked a question and I know what I want to do. I have a decision and I know what I want to do about that. But I'm a recovering people pleaser, right? So all my life, I know the answer. I didn't realize this until human design.
Yeah.
But I know the answer. And then you know what I do? I poll the audience. What does everybody else think I should do? What does everybody else want to do? What do you think? And what do you think? And what do you? And then who knows what I end up deciding, right? I let myself be influenced by all these things, or I need buy-in or approval or permission or affirmation from people who it doesn't matter. And now I go, I already know what I want.
Yeah.
I already know what I want. So this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And I don't waste time or energy on all that stuff. I don't need buy-in from everybody else. I don't. And it can be as simple as, what do you want to do for dinner tonight with my husband? Right. And I can say, I'm in the mood for sushi. And he'd go, I was thinking Italian, or I don't really want to do that. Or he can respond however he wants to. And I go, okay. And he's like, so what do you think? Then I go, well, I already told you what I want. I know what I want. So am I willing to do something else? Do we want to do something different, separate, compromise, change our mind, whatever? But even in like those conversations, it's like, I never knew what I wanted. Yeah. And now I can at least know what I want and voice what I want. And that has changed everything. I trust myself. I let myself be that way. And I remind myself like, oh, I already know. I already know the answer. Because it's habit to go, what does everybody else think about me?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's in those people pleasing and other kind of triggers that we have. There's an area in human design called your centers, which are in alignment with 9 different chakras. And I love the centers. The centers is where I love to nerd out on because there's so much information there when it comes to the why behind your how. And I know for me, so without getting too technical, your centers can either be defined, which means it has a set process. It's where you can send a lot of your information to be filtered through, as I like to describe it. Or they're open, which means they are receptors of information and emotion. Where we tend to get ourselves into quote unquote trouble is when we use an open space as a defined space. I only have 2 defined centers in my chart. So I am very open. And when I learned about what the not self or what it feels like when you try to react from these spaces instead of receive from these open spaces, it was like the universal facepalm of, oh my God, that's okay. I have an open throat. I always had this fear, and probably because being the predominant, only female in my family, as well as the oldest granddaughter, I was always afraid that I wasn't going to be heard. I'm 6 feet tall, by the way. I'm always recognized for the most part.
And I'm also a first granddaughter, just so you know.
So there's that thing of like,
Yeah.
I want to be heard. I want to be seen. I want to be recognized. And I trained myself to be part of a conversation always, because I had this worry that nobody was going to hear me or see me. And so I would always impart my brilliance even when nobody asked for it. And I would always wonder why it never worked. Well, that's because as an open throat, that is me acting as a not self. As an open throat, I need to wait to be asked what my insight is. And that's when it lands. And when I saw that, I was like, well, man, that would have saved me a lot of time and energy.
Oh my gosh.
Trying to be this person.
Yeah. Speaking of Instagram, there was a funny little reel I saw the other day of an introvert. It was an introvert, like trying to inject in a conversation. It was like a happy hour. People were standing around having drinks and laughing and talking about something. And she tried to talk and she went completely ignored. So then she tried again and again went completely ignored. Like, haven't we all had that feeling of like,
yeah,
I'm like, and that was you, right?
Absolutely. Like I'm just waiting for them to take a breath,
right? Like,
and then I can wait a minute.
Like nobody's listening, nobody cares. Yeah.
And the thing is that when I saw that and when I just took a breath and waited for somebody to go, so Mel, what do you think? Or, oh, you mentioned this earlier, the conversations. And if we're going to put it in a business sense, therefore converting into sales was so fluid because I wasn't trying to coerce the conversation to show how amazing I am so then they could sign up and work for me. It is sharing my insight and the way that I see patterns and see the world as myself and as a projector that people want to know. And when they want to know, then the conversation from should we do this to spending time with me in their own way, of course, and how they're designed to make decisions is fluid and beautiful and never that like feeling that I sometimes would have back in the day when I was doing quote traditional sales calls.
Oh, same girl. When you said hitting the phone, I'm like, oh yeah, I was a recruiter. So but there was the call block and the dial for dollars and all the business that always felt
oh my gosh
so ick to me. But it's a little like attraction, not promotion. Right.
Yeah, exactly. And when you flip it to what I call you have that lean in factor, it's you become somebody that's emotionally connecting, not promotionally, producing.
Mm-hmm.
And it does tend to shift the cadence of your business, which can tend to sometimes freak people out, either because it takes off like a freaking bunny rabbit, or there is that moment where, and I've experienced this in my business, of slowing down and turning into a pure quality over quantity in a way that actually, though again, in the beginning, I was like, I'm sorry, like anytime now to now I luxuriate in it. It's that like, oh, I have this space now as a projector. That's an invitation for me to master something. So what do I want to master? How do I want to share what I'm doing? And it has given me and my clients respectfully and their own designs, the power and the word permission keeps coming up, but giving themselves permission to be able to play in the spaces that they're in, to be able to pause when things do get disconnected, and again, be able to look at their operations manual, as I like to call their human design, and go, okay, I'm as a generator, I'm frustrated. Why am I frustrated? Oh, I've hit a plateau. I've mastered everything I have to master. So now it's celebrate, reevaluate, recalibrate, and wait for that next stair step. So what do you want to do as you're waiting for that next stair step? And it just gives us so much more customization and uniqueness and identity inside of our businesses.
Yeah, that's awesome. Can we go through the types and share a little bit about what, as business owners, they look like when they're in alignment, what that looks like for them? You've shared a little bit about Projector, maybe a little more of that, and then of course Generator and the reflectors and the manifesting generators and all of it, just for anyone listening to get a little tip for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start with generators because generators right now are 70% of the population. And generators sometimes I think get not a bad rap, but get a context around them because a lot of people coin them as the worker bees and that they're constantly working and they're the ones that are going to, da 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 da. And a lot of my generator clients are like, well, I don't want to work all the time. And no, you're not designed to work all the time. The reason why you're coined that way is because you do have copious amounts of energy.
You guys, I'm so excited. My favorite makeup brand asked me to be an ambassador for them. Jones Road Beauty. You guys, if you feel like a clown in makeup, like I do, this is the makeup for you. It feels so moisturizing and hydrating that when I went to the store, they actually told me I was using so much. I want to take a bath in this, okay? Jones Road Beauty is the clean, high-performance makeup line from Bobbi Brown, made to enhance your natural beauty, not hide it. From Miracle Balm to their viral foundation, every product is multi-purpose and effortless. It takes me about 5 minutes in the morning, and I feel good all day. And right now, if you use my link, when you spend $85, you're going to get a free mascara. Head to the link below. Start fresh, feel good, glow differently. Thanks, Jones Road Beauty. You know I love magazines. From my vision board to my junk journaling, getting that glossy happy mail in the mailbox makes me so happy, you guys. What happens after the moment? That changes everything. The grief, the healing, the reinvention. After magazine is where those next chapters unfold. It delivers soulful essays, powerful interviews, and vibrant visuals that explore life after the transformational moments and after alcohol. And now, we've introduced an Ask a Coach column with real questions and grounding guidance from an expert coach, me, Heather Lowe of Ditch the Drink, because sometimes the best next step is simply knowing what to ask. For honest answers, thoughtful advice, and a path forward, explore After at aftermagazine.com with my link below. Subscribe for Digitalese to get the stunning quarterly print issue, because life doesn't end with the turning point. It evolves, and After helps you live what comes next.
And the interesting thing about generators is that, and we mentioned this earlier, so you have a strategy of wait to respond. And you are not the initiator, you're the follow through. That line right there has a lot of my generators going, oh, shoot, that's,
That kind of kills me, to be honest.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, I'm in charge of everything all the time, right? It's all up to me and I control everything.
Yeah, and you're not alone in that as generators or manifesting generators, right?
Oh, I know. And it's like, I watch it, like it is the wait to respond. Like things come in and I think it's my job to cross it off my list. So like be done with it, respond to it, get it over with, check it, be productive, be efficient, be productive, prove your worth, all this stuff. Plus I have like an addict background. So if I'm not drinking, maybe I could be working. You know, I found out these, and also this is praised by society. We're all praised.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Responses and for our fast approvals and for getting so much done.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when you say like, wait to respond, oh, okay.
Right. And a line I use a lot with my generators and my manifesting generator clients is just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
Because both of you have so much energy. My Mani-Gens can take it to a next level because generators are my almost silo focused. It's not that they can't do more than one thing, but it's very structured almost in a way. My Mani-Gens are the ones who are meant to have multiple streams, multiple ideas, and act on most of them almost at the same time. So these are my people who have ever been told to niche down, wanted to punch somebody in the face. Those are my Mani-Gens because you're not meant to niche down. You are meant to have multiple identities because the through line,
diversified portfolio, I'd like to say.
because the through line is you. But again, that's not what we're taught. So a lot of my Manigens have gotten very bitter, which is a not self for both Manigens and projectors as well. Frustrated is another way to coin that, because nobody believes them that they can do all of these things, or they feel like they are flighty or non-committal because they'll work on something for like maniacally, and then a day later, or maybe that same day, they'll want to work on this maniacally, and then they feel like they've left this alone. So for manifesting generators, so your strategy is inform and know thyself. And so for manifesting generators, it's sharing what you're thinking, because Manigens can see step 1 through step 100, and then they jump to 100. And then when they share where their frustrations are at 100, somebody goes, oh, well, back at 95, I probably would, and then they have to go back. The more a Manigen can inform somebody what they're thinking, not from a space of approval, just more of a space of, safe sharing or safe soundboarding, the more information they can get so they don't have to go back and redo things a million times. And again, it's that waiting aspect again of inform. Because with a Manigen, you also have the generator aspect of it of, wait to respond, know thyself, all these other aspects of it. And so for my Manigens, one of my clients that I think of often with this is the way that she now confidently and joyously jumps around with how she wants to share what her purpose is in this world, and the creativity now that she gives herself full awareness for and space to come out has created such a different level of business for herself, because she's no longer going, well, I want to do a webinar and I want to match, the Sarah J. Maas Throne of Glass book to leadership styles in corporate. And I'm like, okay. She's like, well, I can't do that. I'm sorry. Yes, you can, because that's the idea you have. And that's what people are drawn to you for, is these out of the box ways. And so the way now that she can be like, I have this idea, and then she goes into it, she experiments with it, because she's also what's called a line 3, a martyr, which she needs to experiment to experience. She doesn't cut herself to any traditional outcome. She learns, and then she progresses from there. And the way that no longer destroys her from, what did I do wrong? What's wrong with me? No, that's not the question. It's what worked, what didn't, what did you enjoy, what actually didn't you enjoy, and then how can you, build from there.
Yeah. And a little bit, it sounds like I just had this with a friend this morning who I'm like, she must be a manifesting generator now that I think about it. You can enjoy the process, not just the outcome, right? Or remind yourself that you're in process and you're allowed joy, learning, growth, healing while you're in process, not just
absolutely
at the outcome or at the top of the mountain or when the mission is complete,
Yeah.
that it's the whole, not just the end.
Always. And the way we experience that, especially when you start digging deeper into your chart, just helps you feel so seen by yourself. Because again, it's not that, well, what's wrong with me? It's more of, well, what was wrong with that advice that you got? Or what was quote unquote wrong with the formula that you were provided? Because nothing is copy and pasteable. Nothing is. The person who had created whatever formula they created that made them the success that they are, guess what they did? They took what somebody else already did and they customized it to themselves. So in actuality, there is no 60K in 60 seconds. There is no, this is the one thing you need to create all that you want. Here's an avenue, here's a funnel, here's a system.
Right.
Now take what works for you, what sits and resonates with you. And then with your human design, how do you flush that out into something that is completely yours and to your cadence, your purpose, your pace, and so forth. And so as we're moving into, so we did generator, manifestor, so then projector as well. That's another interesting aspect, because with the fact, as I mentioned, we don't have that much energy, our pace is quote unquote slower. We are the guides. I kind of like to look at ourselves, coming from a religious background, as like the Holy Spirit. Like we are here to help people be themselves. And again, we're not here to provide answers. We're here to provide space for you to find the answers for yourself. Because as one of my favorite quotes says, you have everything inside of you to answer the call of your soul. You just have to find it. And projectors are the guides to do that. And if I would have known that information, I'm also what's called a line 6, which is a role model, which basically means my quote unquote pure success, because as a projector, that's our signature, won't hit until after I'm 50. Well, if I would have known that, I would have given myself a lot less pressure to attain certain things by certain ages. It would have really allowed me to be more present, be more aware, and be more profitable in other areas without focusing on that quote success sooner rather than later. And then we move into manifestors, which their signature, or excuse me, their strategy is just pure inform. Those are the initiators. Those are the ones that are like, I have an idea. You share the idea. Generators, manifesting generators go, got it. They take the idea and then you take a step back. And again, as manifestors, that's take the step back and then initiate the next idea isn't easy to do either, because they see it and they think they can be the follow through along with the initiator. And when they pull back to be that support to let those in their teams or their clients or what have you do their best work and magic as generators or manifesting generators, it gives them more freedom to ideate, to be those initiations of change, of evolving their ideas, their product, and so forth. And then when we move to reflectors, as you mentioned, that's 1% of the population. Their strategy is wait 28 days. And yes, there are successful entrepreneurs who do that. One of my clients is one of them. And they are what's called the barometer. So I kind of mentioned projectors or the Holy Spirit. The reflectors feel what's going on in their collective, in their circle, in their environment. And with that information, they're able to support and guide as well, but from a different aspect. It's not necessarily individually of sorts. It is more, how can I bring forward a space and a soundboard for the collective as a whole? And so again, it changes the way that you look at your offers. It changes the way that you look at how you've structured your day, your routine, your calendar, and so forth. And again, that's just a sound bite of each part of a chart. And also enough to where a lot of people probably listen, you're going, oh, that makes a lot more sense. And maybe a little bit of grimace. I know I grimaced a little bit when I heard pieces of my chart. I'm like, oh, really? But I don't, okay. And there's that trust factor as well. But it's in those moments where, again, 99.9% of the time, it's watching my clients' shoulders drop and them just finally seeing themselves as a whole and honoring and have an understanding and a blueprint on how they can just shift things, because they haven't done anything wrong. They've just gone too far. So those boundaries and those strategies to understand where to pull back, where is your stopping point, and then watching the rest of it unfold without you having to have your fingers in it.
Yeah. When I learned mine, I felt like the Greatest Showman. I wanted to sing "This Is Me." Like,
yeah.
It was like, this is it. I mean,
Yeah.
I still have it. I have it in front of me. I just pulled it out for this. Like, this is me. I want to sing it from the rooftops. It makes so much sense to me.
Yeah.
And it's just who I am. So there's also like blame, shame, stigma, society,
Absolutely.
what they value. And I just go, this is who I am. This is who I am, because I'm the kind of person that does this, because I'm the kind of person that's like this, and that I wouldn't change that about me.
Yeah.
Right. And I can start to value and accept exactly who I am and then work with what I have, instead of expecting myself to be somebody different or working against myself all the time. I feel like I'm on my same page and I have a deeper understanding of who I am. So I'm learning now how to apply that with business, right? Because it's like going to, with your own inner guidance, like you said, that person like, okay, I got this wacky idea. No one's going to like it. Maybe give it a try, give it a go anyways. Right? And you are
Yeah,
met with, when that's your authentic self coming out, you are met, the world meets you, rises to where you are, right?
absolutely.
So when you're in flow, that's contagious energy for others.
Yeah, and it's a natural filtration system in my mind.
Yeah.
Because I've had several people, several members of my family, in fact, get a little eyebrow raised because I'm very vocal on LinkedIn on both my spiritual and traditional tools that I use. And a few of them will be like, well, don't you think that that's scaring people away, that that's negating people because you're so open about your spiritual practices? And I was like, no, that's filtering them in. If that scares them off, if they're like, yes, 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 and then I show an oracle card pull and they're like, just kidding, then gorgeous. They're not my clients.
I love attract and repel. I'm like,
Yeah.
thank you. Every time somebody, and no matter where you're at in business, somebody's going to not like you, somebody's going to
Yep.
remove you, somebody's going to unsubscribe, unfollow, give you
Yeah.
feedback, whatever it is. I actually think I'm not big enough because I don't have enough hate out there yet. I'm like, nobody hates me enough. I need to get bigger so more people hate me. But like that repel, I go, thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you for
Yeah.
unsubscribing. I don't spend 1 second on that. Thank you for clearing the space for somebody that is. I wouldn't expect that I would be
Exactly.
for everyone. And that's from somebody who tried to be for everybody most of my life, right? I go,
Yeah.
this is beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for leaving. Thank you for unsubscribing. Thank you for not being
Yeah.
here if this is not for you. And that's beautiful. That's gorgeous. I
Yeah.
love it. And I
And
like how
even
you said natural filtration system.
and even for those who are listening to this right now going, oh God, I wish I could be that way. Again, going back to the centers, understanding your human design can show you where that lives and what are the questions you can ask yourself and where can you actually move that energy or that information into what's true for you. You mentioned, your sobriety journey, and I know you talk very openly about that, which is so beautiful. A couple of my clients are in their sobriety journey as well, and it's been really interesting looking at their centers and how almost reintroducing themselves to them because a lot of them had been clouded by drinking. Both of them are from drinking and introducing themselves to the actual safe space that open center is and
Right.
the wisdom that it gives them and learning how to retrust their intuition. And this is what I love about what I do because it's such a beautiful combination of personal stories that they choose to share with me, when they feel safe to. And I'm always honored when they do. And how that has projected onto how they have built their business. And they might not even have connected those two together. So when I show them the bridge between their trauma, their training, their conditioning, and how that has slowly or very confidently has affected or created itself inside of their business, we get to spend time then reconnecting to that trust and rebuilding that faith in their actual authority and how to talk to them or her, him, or however they want to coin them, and see how beautifully it actually naturally worked for them, but they either didn't recognize it or because they were not sober at the time, just didn't even hear it because it was just drowned out by so many other factors.
Yeah, so many people I work with. I mean, it just makes perfect sense to me that human design and sobriety could go together because so much of my clients' drinking is not listening to themselves. It's pouring alcohol on it on purpose so they can fit in situations, fit in relationships, spaces, places that are not for them. So
Yeah.
it turns off their inner voice. They're looking
Yeah.
to silence the inner critic, to silence whoever's saying, this is uncomfortable for me. This is not a safe place. This is not a safe person. It should be, it's supposed to be, what you're feeling is wrong. Pour alcohol on it. Like you should be doing that job. Everyone else can do that job. Why can't you? Right. When for me, it was like, I'm doing fine at this job. And it's slowly taken my soul every day to do this, to do these cold calls. This is not my purpose in life,
Yeah.
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 And so for many of us, alcohol is a way to not pay attention. And human design is a way to let yourself be yourself and have a deeper
Yeah.
understanding of yourself. Alcohol is trying to shove yourself where you don't fit and not listen to yourself, right?
Yeah.
So perfect alignment to do those things together, to learn about sobriety, to get clarity, and to learn about your human design and get clarity on that too.
Yeah.
And your own
Absolutely.
self-trust.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That right there is why I love to share about human design and why I'm so passionate about bringing it, to as many people who allow me to be a part of it as possible, is that self-trust. Because nobody is innately taught really to trust themselves. It is always to find the thing that fixes it, find the expert, find the thing that
Mhm.
quiets it, whether that's drugs, alcohol, or any other addiction. And
Mhm.
we aren't taught to spend time with ourselves as ourselves. Personal development is beautiful. There's a lot of amazing stories and workbooks and master classes out there. But when you look at them from an overarching perspective, it's you just identifying yourself inside of somebody else's stories, but there's no real steps afterwards. It's like, oh, I feel seen through this person's story. Now what? Like, there's no real clear step by step with human design. And I will say this, it can be uncomfortable sometimes for people because this is new to them, of spending time on themselves. It might feel selfish. It might feel, selfish is probably the predominant word I get sometimes. And once they do have that initial reading, it's that moment of, well, why haven't I always done this? Like this, again, this isn't me telling you something you don't know. I'm not going to tell
Yeah.
you did something wrong. I'm not going to tell you when you're going to die. I'm not going to tell you anything that's going to traumatize you.
Mhm.
It's 90 minutes of you just feeling seen and heard and recognized by yourself. And then with that information going, okay, this has been the biggest part of what's disconnecting me from how I want to create the business, the money, and life that I want. I want to spend time in this space. And so it is something that is personal and something that is progressional. The person who brought human design forward says it takes an average of 7 years for you to fully incorporate your design. So it's not meant to be 90 minutes with me and you're all okay.
Right.
It's 90 minutes is the key. You unlock it and then see where those next steps take you and how do you want to start shifting and implementing. Again, those most powerful points that you were just like, oh, cool. Now I know this to be true. Switch to,
Yeah.
ooh, this emotional thing is coming up, or why do I keep stopping myself when I want to do X, Y, Z? And we can take the time, if you feel called, to be in that space and really identify where those voices are really coming from, how loud they really should be, and where you can really go to feel grounded and secure and confident.
I love that. I love it so much, Mel. Thank you for your insight today. I think too, how we measure success and how I like how you use the word profitable, but in all ways, mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, the whole thing. Truly beautiful. We're going to have all your information in the show notes for anyone to contact you if they're more interested in learning about human design and how it can help them and their business. Any final thoughts that you want to give the listeners before we check out today?
Again, just going back to that, trust yourself. You really do have everything inside of you to answer the call of your soul. And when you lean into what you know to be true and you start to silence the noise around you, how you create what you want does truly become fluid. But it starts with coming back to what you know to be true and trusting that you know your how. And knowing that when you take those steps, you will get more information on what that next step is.
Yeah, when the path starts to reveal itself, right?
Absolutely.
I love that. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Heather.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Peripatia Podcast, a talk show for women. Don't forget to download my free ebook, The 12 Truths to Change Your Life. Do it for the plot. We'll see you in the next episode. Lots of love.